So hi everyone, Michael is back. Vedrana is here. Usually behind the scenes, but she's come out right now. We're probably going to touch on some all-in stuff. I don't know, Michael. Do you feel like touching on all-in stuff? I need to refresh my brain a little bit today.
So, I just watched a bit about what was the last thing they mentioned.
Maybe you can refresh me. What they were saying.
And some more, I just watched it like half an hour ago. I really forgot
Nice.
what they said. The last part was actually on the El Salvador prison. I think the Trump administration want to deport the prisoners over to El Salvador.
Okay.
And then I remember Jason and Shamath was actually quite against that, while River was actually quite understanding of the nature. So I think overall, Jason and Jason mostly mentioned about his infringe on the American rights where they went to trial, they went to jail without trial. I think that was no main contention point.
Right. Yeah, I feel that so Feedback was for it, right? I mean, not say for it, but he wasn't really against it, right?
Yeah, he's not against it.
I remember Jason was very, very like anti that thing.
Mm.
He had to have free trial and all this, like like a trial and all that. I think Sharma also was that. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think about this situation?
I mean, for myself, I would think that extreme situations call for extreme measures. I think that that situation in El Salvador back then, it warrants the rule of that. Like how similar Singapore has that also.
Mm, mm.
So I don't disagree with that position.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was actually kind of my line of thinking as well. Because I remembered back in the 60s,
Mm.
70s, Lee Kuan Yew, right, the BAP, they were, when they came into power, they basically captured anybody whom they suspected of being a communist. I remembered that part. And then I think there was this guy who said that he was thrown in jail for 6 months, windowless, just because they suspected him of being a communist, even though he wasn't. And there was no, he wasn't given any trial. So they just suspected him and they threw him in jail. And he did say that, back then it was quite bad in Singapore in terms of
Mm.
the disagreement, the political disagreement now, that even though he's very, even though he wasn't, he was innocent, right? But he didn't blame Lee Kuan Yew. He said, of course, he was upset, that he kena that thing, right? Like kena being caught. But he said that for the better of the country, he said that this was necessary. I just happened to be the sway one, or the unlucky one. So he said that this is necessary for any leader, right, who wants to contain the chaos. Some people would definitely be sort of in the mix lah, and over time it will sort itself out. It's just that they really have to, because they have to think about all the other innocent people, the people who would never ask for this. So in the case of the US, they never asked for all these criminals coming in. There are a lot of girls getting raped, a lot of people getting killed from there was even in New York, because I'm from there also, and then X was, there's a lot of chatter on this. One homeless woman got set on fire by an illegal immigrant. Literally, he just like put a fire, he basically threw fire there. I don't know, I forgot whether she died or not. But the weird thing, yeah, if I don't saw, the thing was nobody did anything. And even the police officer, right, there was a police officer around, he just kind of walked by the woman who was on fire. Like what? You're like, what world are we living in, yo? So basically all these are quite necessary lah. Yeah, I think so. I think also lah. So if some people, unfortunately, it sucks. But it is how it is. Or rather than okay, some other innocent kid or a teenager gets raped and then killed, and then it's even worse lah. Rather
I
than some,
think one thing that was being brought, I saw in the comments was such that the prisons in El Salvador, even though it looks like although it's a prison, no doubt, but the prisoners aren't really being abused. So that is what is going for, So long as the prison conditions is not in the state where the prisoners are being mistreated, I think that is still all right. Also, yeah, I think they'll still be all right.
I've heard mixed opinions on this. Some people say it's quite humane, and other people say it's horrible. So
Well, if you spend a month in a windowless space, that's not particularly humane. I mean, there are far worse things they could be doing, but just a windowless, that also sounds a bit like solitary confinement, because I'm not sure that there's another person there, or if there was,
So,
would that be a
regarding
beneficial?
the solitary confinement, because I do went to prison. I mean, as I went into prison to look around before, I see those. But generally, it depends. I still personally, on a personal basis, I think that is still quite okay.
what is the prison system like in Singapore, since you sort of have exposure to that?
Well,
Oh.
prison system, like, how would you?
Like, is it pretty humane, you think? Because I've never actually been into a Singapore prison. I don't know.
I guess how you put it, overall, the person in the prison is definitely not it's not going to be comfortable. That's why I can put it.
Okay.
But
I heard
they wouldn't be being beaten up for nothing.
I heard that every cell has showers inside.
Technically, yes, that is a shower. Yeah.
So there's no like public showers where all the everybody sorry, there's no like communal showers lah.
So it depends on, because the showers will be within their own cell, and the cell itself could have a few prisoners in it.
Oh, okay.
But it's those showers that has very low privacy, so people from outside can still see in, which is more for security purposes.
Do you remember the Nvidia chips that Singapore was sort of China was using Singapore to escape? Which the chips was coming from where? Was coming from US to China or China to US to Singapore?
So exactly, I don't think it was mentioned, but in general, I would think that since the chips are manufactured from Taiwan, so probably from Taiwan to Singapore.
Oh, Taiwan to Singapore, then Singapore to.
So unless those chips because I would still think that the assembly process is still taken. They have the chips, the manufacture of the chips in Taiwan, but the actual assembly process, I would think that it's still in Taiwan as well, but it's done on another factory.
Right.
So I would think that it should be still in. I don't think it went to US directly. It's just that US has the jurisdiction over there.
Singapore has no tariffs with the US, right? I think it's free trade, right, between both countries.
The tariff would be the normal kind of the import duties, I would think. Basically, I would think that Singapore has a bit of tax on pretty much everything now. After all, you still have GST.
I heard that Singapore has no tariffs on basically most things on any country except
for those three.
Yeah. So let me just ask Rob. Does Singapore
I'm just doing that.
Savannah is supposed to be our research hub. Like speaking of research hub, on the first week, right? The first session, right? There was a little bit of discrepancy. You said that China is the biggest investor in Singapore. Actually, US is the biggest investor in Singapore, and China is the biggest trading partner in Singapore. Something like this.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want me to edit this out or put it into the third one, but
it's all right. Since I said it, might as well. If you want to edit, then carry out. If you feel that it's too much time, forget it. It's all right.
Oh, okay.
Singapore.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you finished. Singapore does not impose tariffs on most imports from United States due to US-Singapore Free Trade Agreement, which has been in effect since January 1st, 2004. I want to paste, but keeps being too long. Whatever I want to paste in, it's just too long.
Is this from Grok?
Yes.
Grok says Singapore does impose tariffs on goods imported from the United States and other countries.
What? Ask Grok. Does Singapore have tariffs on US?
Technically,
technically
it won't be a tariff. It's just the GST kind of thing.
Oh, because they said the Singapore imposed tariff. I asked, does Singapore impose tariffs on the US and other countries? And they say yes, Singapore does impose tariffs on goods imported from the United States and other countries, but its tariff regime is notably liberal compared to many nations. But then as I go down, okay.
Basically, I would think that the tariff there would be
yeah.
mandated.
Yeah, no, say, however, the vast majority of its tariffs are set at 0%. Over 99% of tariff lines entering Singapore and duty-free for all trading partners under its MFN status. Great.
You have a tariff, but it's 0%. That's
Yeah, there's and then they also
If-
mentioned US Singapore Free Trade Agreement, blah blah blah.
I guess to put all the legal stuff to get ready for if there's ever going to be a tariff, everything is set up, and then you just tweak the number, the
yeah,
percentage.
yeah. Mine is my personal Grok account. Sorry, my personal X account is the highest tier, but because it was very cheap back then, and then like 3 months later they jack up the price very high. So I have this
Mm.
nice privilege until end of the year before I have to downgrade my account because it's very pricey. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm on the Wealthways Grok, but I asked specifically for Singapore. I didn't ask about other countries. I pasted the answer as
So
an image because.
So I guess Singapore doesn't have tariffs lah with the US. So I think Singapore will be fine. But there's not much coming out from Singapore anyways. But at least if they're importing American goods, I think we'll be fine. Lor.
So yeah, Singapore does has a trade deficit against US.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, a lot of people seem to back up your point last week on the China part. Everyone is more like, that Singapore should align a bit more with China. Then they should they should with the US. I haven't really had a chance to kind of voice my thoughts on this because we were trying to keep to an hour or so. But I feel that Singapore Drew said it should be more neutral. But I do see the rift of the countries being like this law. Oh, shush. Do we want to talk about US and Canada? And how he's getting more and more serious about making Canada the 51st state. Yeah, let's touch on that. Because I was about to say that, Europe should. Okay, there was this guy called Jeffrey Sachs.
Yep.
Yeah, great. You know about him. Oh yeah, because all in the. So yeah.
That is a freaking good speaker. During the live event, him and Mearsheimer was having a great talk.
Yeah.
That was the highlight of the whole thing.
Yes, I really, really love that talk. And there was he was at the European Commission meeting, I think, and he was really harping on how Europe, right, should really defend itself against, of course, the interests of his own country. He said that Europe, right, he said you all should actually be friendly with Russia, not try to like provoke Russia because Russia is on your border. He said your neighbors you will never be able to change your neighbors one. So you all should actually go into Russia, either go to Moscow or or invite Putin and try to see what deal y'all can strike because y'all cannot always depend on the States. Okay, this part is like they say that y'all should be friendly with each other lah, and also with African countries and all that stuff. So now China is trying to get is trying to, I would say, dominate Africa in a sense whereby do friendly business with Africa. Most countries in Africa, I would say, and it's working out quite well for them. And Africa, that's the continent itself, right? But most of the countries in Africa have a very, very young population. And AKA young population means more economic growth because the young can work harder, they can work overtime, they have more energy, so on and so forth. Whereas, we're all giant countries like China and the US and even Japan and Korea, all the developed countries, we are kind of, the wealthier we are, the less kids we have. So then, the population is upside down like that. More older people and less younger people. So it creates a very unstable dynamic. So China is very smart to actually invest in Africa, where there's a lot of young blood going on. And apparently, to kind of watch out for African countries in the continent.
They have been doing that for what, 2-3 decades? Ever since China opened up, they already in Africa.
Yeah. I heard that once where they were trying to build like a railroad, like a very fast train. Not fast, the railroad in Ethiopia, right? Connecting Ethiopia and Kenya, something like this. That was actually a while ago already.
Yeah, I think they also had one between sorry, I can't remember, but it's for mining actually. And it was actually threatening against US routes. So I think there was a big hoo-ha there. So I think back since then, I think it was last year, US was trying desperately to go back, get back in.
Get
Because
back
of
in
the,
African countries.
it's somewhere in the central of Africa. It was a bit southwards.
Oh, okay. Wait, does US US always been involved with African countries?
Not really, no. But that was US involved in proxy with the European countries.
European countries, is it?
It's just that US is the major share where all the stuff are being shipped over to.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it's for that one is for minerals.
There's a lot of minerals in Africa, right?
I think it was cobalt or something. It's not lithium, it's cobalt. I think it's cobalt.
I see. There's a lot of minerals in Africa, right?
Mm.
I have a feeling that's where China get a lot of their minerals from also. Potentially.
So I think earlier last week, there was a YouTube feed that actually popped out, and so I can't verify whether is that correct. But I think Nigel actually kicked out the China companies that was in that country and seized their assets over there.
Ooh. Tell us more.
Exact. Okay. Because I can't verify the sources, so I haven't looked back. So that is what I can remember. So yeah, if I recall, it's Mingle. Let me check whether is that correct or not. Because right now you can't really say for sure whether is that correct or not. Is that true or fake news anymore?
Brock says, I'm looking at it. Nigel has not fully kicked out Chinese companies in the sense of expelling all of them or banning their operations entirely, but it has taken significant actions against certain Chinese entities and personnel as of March 31st, 2025. Okay, it's a bit of a long paragraph, so I'm not gonna read it all.
Yeah, so it is, yeah. Overall, I think it was kicked out due to being said that they are paying their workers poorly.
You're right.
Human rights thing.
Correct, you're right. I didn't think that
Not Nigeria.
Nigerian. Yeah, Niger. So I guess it's not Nigerian, but Nigerian. Spelled with the difference in only one letter. But they are saying that wage disparities, Chinese expatriates were reportedly earning significantly more than local Nigerian workers in similar roles. That's so about $1,200 USD a month for the Nigerian workers and 8,678 per month on average for the Chinese expatriates.
So in general, because I won't say involved, but in the past I used to work in something like this. Yeah, usually the expats that comes over to countries are usually pay a lot higher than the locals. So to me, it wasn't any kind of doing.
I think it's probably just
it's just an excuse.
Yeah, I think it's just bad politics lah. Because I mean, Chinese definitely need, you know, their wage, the cost of living has gone up lah, very very high. Then Niger is, I'm sure $1,200 is probably a lot for the locals, or at least maybe a little bit more than average. So to kind of dispute over that, I think could be quite poorly executed lor. At the expense of their own people. Yeah, just like, never mind. I was gonna head into a bit more of a political sphere, but okay, let's just move on. I think it was gonna probably rub a lot of people wrong. But again, in the finance industry, there's a little more less woke stuff over here lah. So yeah. Yeah. So on that note, right? Apparently Hyundai invested $5.8 billion into US manufacturing. Do you have any thoughts on that?
So I believe TSMC has invested in a similar amount, but we have yet to see anything from there. So it's question mark.
Actually, TSMC is a lot. I think it's 100 billion. Hyundai is I think not 5.8 billion. Yeah, so but I think it's not a lot. It's nothing. There's really only a scratch on the surface. Of course, I think a lot of people are like, only 5.8 billion. Like, you know, what can you do? Apparently, it can create 1,400 jobs. It's not like a lot if you compare to the whole country, but I guess it's a good start, lor. And I'm well, I mean, if I'm a little bit on the side of the US, obviously, because we're going to be moving there. So I'm hoping that there'll be more companies that will invest in the US lah. Yeah, and then create more jobs there, and then so that the tariffs won't affect the people, more significantly. Yeah.
That's it, right? I don't believe most of the motor vehicles in US are being imported from other countries. Pretty much most of their vehicles that are being used there are built in US after all.
You think so, eh? Because I know that they do have some parts that like, for example, Tesla does ship certain parts from China and other countries, but the manufacturing itself is actually made in US. I thought Tesla was pretty much the only one out of everything. I thought
So Tesla has to import the batteries from China, if I recall.
Okay.
BID battery tech is on another level.
Oh yeah, did you see? Was it the All-in who did that? Who showed us that the battery, the BYD and the battery for Tesla?
I don't think so. But I seen that before. I think it's on one of the. No, I remember what is it, but I don't think it was all in.
Okay, I saw a video once. I really should save it. I think what I can do is these days, right? I'm gonna whatever podcast that I see, right, that looks interesting. I'm just gonna post it on like NAS and Telegram. Then people can go and look.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so also because I mean I think it's nice to share lah. But like what can I think it was one of these podcasts. I would dig it up and I'll post it on us. But basically they had two batteries, a Tesla battery and a Tesla battery and a BYD battery, and they call it the slice something, like they put the needle over a Tesla battery. After a while it just boom, like after a certain depth, right, the Tesla battery blew up. And for BYD, right, they did the same thing, and it was very, very, very seamless and nothing. So apparently it's very, very safe lah. Then it's safe and it's cheaper. So BYD is set to basically crush Tesla lah.
If I recall, can't remember. Tesla's battery used to be from Hyundai.
Oh, is it really?
But it's definitely not Xiaomi lah. It's definitely for somebody else. I can't remember the manufacturer.
I see.
So basically, BYD's battery is pretty much market leader.
Yeah, it looks like it though. The cars are pretty light lah. So in terms of crash test, I don't know how they fare lah for crash test. For me, if I were to get a car, I want the safest car out there lor. So I'll probably get the ugly Cybertruck if I can ever afford it. But or even a Tesla for that matter.
I think I've seen a YouTube channel before. It was one comparing some China EVs versus the Tesla EVs. It's out of this world. The China ones are out of this world.
Okay. Are you able to send to the Wealthwiz team or wherever lah, or send to me whenever?
I'm trying to find that video again. Wow, because I think he was like being kidnapped and then sent to Alaska to do the testing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm definitely waiting for Tesla, but I'm also quite curious about BYD.
No, so basically, if I'm not wrong, it's been banned now. You can't really buy it in US anyway. Those vehicles are kind of banned in
Banner. It's not even like high tariffs. It's completely banned, is it?
It seems like
Okay, I guess I'll find out when we get there sometime in the future. Okay.
But as far as U.S. car companies, it says all major U.S. auto companies such as Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep manufacture vehicles and source parts from elsewhere in the world. The U.S. auto industry relies heavily on global supply chain to remain competitive in cost term efficiency.
Okay.
Cost quality efficiency.
I need to look.
And then there's
I guess it's assembled in US lah.
It's assembled in US. I think I saw a report somewhere that says assembled. Those who are assembled in US are more exempt from the tariffs, something like this. So like I've looked into it.
If I'm not wrong, actually no, it's the opposite. It used to be tariffs exempted, but now they are also making it to be imposed with tariffs as well. That's why they have to get all the suppliers in US.
Yeah, they mostly get parts.
So I feel like Trump's I know Kelvin sent me a link that said that Trump wants, or no, maybe not, it wasn't Kelvin, maybe it was actually an X post. Trump wants automakers to not increase their prices, which is kind of stupid. I mean, and okay, it's not stupid. I mean, it's not like it's just kind of, it doesn't make sense lah. Because if you're gonna tariff, you're gonna tariff the imports, but then when you tariff the imports means that the car manufacturers will need to increase their price. And if they don't increase their price, that means that the company loses. So I don't see how that makes sense. And if the company loses, there won't be any manufacturing in the US. So I don't know. I don't really know how they're gonna kind of work their way around it though.
I think similarly, I think I can't remember, is it last week or 2 weeks ago? Yeah, I saw Walmart was actually asking the China suppliers to lower down their prices.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, I saw that too.
Basically, I think China put a foot down saying that they don't want their suppliers in China to decrease their prices because of that. In any case, yeah, they don't really have enough margin to actually decrease our prices further.
Yeah lah. I'm with China on this lah. They need to, they can't just give concessions, especially to another country. Yeah. Speaking of China and US relations, Panama Canal. Have you guys read about that?
Wow. I think we briefly touched on that last week, I think. Another person. Yeah, I think I spoke to Kelvin on last Saturday regarding that. So I think Kelvin was asking what else can Donald Trump invent after EV. So I mentioned ports. Yeah.
Well, sorry, what can Donald Trump what?
What can Trump target after EVs? So basically, I think will be shipping, which is what he's doing right now.
So there's this tweet from Defense Politics Asia. I didn't actually follow their Twitter. I mean, Defense Politics Asia was something that Drew brought up last week, right? And I actually saved the YouTube link for me to watch it. I just haven't had time this past week. But
I'm surprised you watched that channel.
You're surprised you watched that channel?
No, I'm surprised you watch that channel. I do watch this from time to time.
Oh, I never heard of it. So so now I have. And apparently I follow this guy called Brent Johnson. He's the CEO and I guess co-founder of Santiago Capital. It's hedge fund firm. And he is the US guy. He actually apparently followed Defense Politics Asia. So he actually quoted, that's how I found out, hey, Defense Politics Asia now has an X account. So I finally followed Defense Politics Asia. But basically the post that he requoted, that Santiago Capital requoted, was saying that oh, America want to give you money to get the canal you don't want. So now they're gonna have the canal for free. Then I was like, oh yeah, what's going on? So then I looked through the post, right? Apparently Trump is not against, or I guess the administration is not against potentially just taking the canal, because the canal is right there in the US. So it's sort of in their territory, you see. So if they want to use brute force, they can use brute force. I mean, whether it's right or not, of course, it's not really right lah to just take it like that. But they did try to buy it out. China said no, and then are you going to China? Like, are you really going to send your army or whatever to like, is it worth going into another war for this canal and all that? So I think it kind of, it makes you kind of think, will China actually lose support? And and will US actually do that? Defense Politics Asia said that they are definitely going to do that, and the word was definitely. So yeah, you any thoughts?
Why I think China has a backup plan. They have trying to make another port somewhere in South America.
Sorry, it's a China Sea megaport in Peru. China's influence is most prominent in China Sea. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Megaport in Peru, which opened November 24.
2024.
Yeah.
It should be end of last year. I think recently he started getting his first ships over.
But I mean, it has, through Chinese owned companies, access to various ports in North and South America.
I think it's smart for China to do that, though. Not sure if it's going to be enough for them, but at least they have something there for them. Peru, then they can ship to the rest of the South America.
Looking how it plays out, I think the short term wise, yeah, probably they have to bypass US or direct totally. So at least having a port in South America, at least it still have some trades over there. To get,
Right.
especially with the Brazil and Argentina side, we will get oil from Venezuela.
Oh yeah, Venezuela and China are kind of going to pack out already, right? Something like this. Yeah. Cool. Can we move on to Canada? I'm just like, because we lived in Canada also for a couple of years, so it it is definitely an area of interest for us. But like, what are your thoughts on US and US trying to make Canada a 51st state, and they seem to be quite adamant on that.
Oh, they can try, but I don't think it'll be successful. In World War II, Canada, the force that was fighting in Europe, while wasn't the biggest, it did earn quite a major respect from the rest of the allies due to their prowess. Overall, yeah, you see, because of the tariffs, right? I think the reaction from the population in Canada was more negative than expected. So yeah, they really boycotted without the country even to say so. So if US actually do it by force, yeah, I don't really see it as a favorable outcome for US to have a quick retreat. And I don't even think that the US military personnel themselves want to fight Canada, even if it's a direct order from the president or Congress.
Especially considering who the president is, they will be even less likely to follow that order.
Well,
might be.
Not necessary, because for US to declare war, it is not just the president's decision. It has to be passed through Congress.
Oh yeah, it's multiple, but as in just because the president says something.
Though
I don't think
I actually not too sure, because the military, I would say, it has highest is more pro-Trump than anti-Trump.
the US
Yeah,
military.
maybe in general, but to actually actively attack Canada, I think that will be a very tall order by anyone.
I don't think there's a need to attack Canada, actually.
Yeah.
They just have to affect them economically.
Death
And
by 1,000 cuts.
yeah.
Well, because Canada is pretty much like British in US. Basically, I think that in British citizens has pretty much the reputation of being, yeah, even if you want to sanction us, we will still keep doing even more so, that kind of thing.
I believe Canada would definitely put up a very good fight. I think there's a good chance that US could potentially succeed. Okay, I won't say a very good chance, but like a decent chance that the US could succeed. And the reason being that is because Canada made a very, very grave mistake back in the day. I believe it was under Justin Trudeau's during that time, and maybe he first became prime minister. I have to look back on it again. But he actually had a chance. They were in talks with Europe, right, to build a pipeline from the eastern coast of Canada to Europe. Basically because Canada has a lot of natural resources. LNG is one of them. So they were actually in talks to do this piping to Europe. And I believe before Justin Trudeau was a Conservative Party, I believe it was Stephen Harper. And then I think Stephen Harper got voted out because of some mistake that he made, and then Trudeau took over and Trudeau got elected. So under the Conservative rule, right, Conservative Party, they were actually going to do this pipeline, right? And then Trudeau came up, and then I believe it was stopped. So that was their big mistake, because if they had done that, right, a lot of countries, including Canada themselves, would have benefited, and the Russia-Ukraine war may not even have happened, because right now Europe, right, a lot of countries in Europe, a lot of countries in Europe are dependent on Russian LNG, liquid natural gas. So because they're fully dependent on Russia can always say, okay, yeah, you all want to be against us, right? So we can just cut the pipeline. Whereas if Canada had actually did the pipeline, and let's say it was already finished already lah, okay, because it takes years for the pipeline to be constructed. If they had actually done that right, and it's completed right, I believe the Russian-Ukraine war would have been a bit harder for Russia, and also it would have benefited Canada because Canada would not have relied completely on US, for the economy because so when Trudeau came in, he actually transferred that, he stopped the pipeline, the plans, and then he actually decided to sell LNG to US lah. So US had pretty much all Canadians LNG. So because I was following Canadian politics for a little bit, and Pierre Poilievre, who is the head of the Conservative Party, he said, yeah, because they asked him, I forgot what they asked him really, don't know what. What do you have to say to President Trump? And then on tariffs, that was very, very earlier this year, I think late Jan. And he said, well, first thing I want to say is that I want President Trump should send a very huge bouquet of flowers to Justin Trudeau. Because of basically of not building the pipeline to Europe lah. So he say this has really made us very dependent on US, and and this was even way before Trump and Canada got into this, US and Canada got into this spat of tariffs. So it seems that that's playing out quite nicely in Trump's hands. And apparently a lot of the economic activity is from the southern, something about the southern, what do you call it, Lake Ontario, the southern part of Ontario. And the administration plans to annex that part, which I don't know what that means exactly. I haven't looked into it yet. But if you annex that part, it's sort of negatively affects Canadian economy, because basically all of Canada is pretty much dependent on that part. So this one I have to look it up. Hopefully I'll have more information by next week. But it's sort of, it doesn't give Canada a lot of hope in that regard. They can try to puff up their chest and everything, but if their economy is affected negatively, and of course, yes, they say I want to partner with Europe. We want to partner with Europe, but first and foremost, Europe is right across, the country. It's right across on the other side of the planet. It's separated by an ocean. That's number one. So you want to give business to Europe, but first you must build the pipeline first, ma. How many years is it going to take to build the pipeline? And then in the meantime, Trump can always say, oh, annex already, y'all suffer for 6, 7, 8 years. Canada may or may not be able to hold on. So in the meantime, the country will suffer quite a bit. And then secondly, you have I think this one Verdana can maybe jump in, because since she's from Europe, she was saying how there's a lot of the politics in Europe is also not very good, and then that could also affect Canada. Do you want to chime in on this?
Been away from Europe for a while, so the politics are not great in that. Knowledge of politics is not great in that aspect, but it's been very things are boiling over in Europe, according to people talking, friends, everybody, news, that it's quite.
So I was actually.
It's not peaceful. It's not harmony. It's not like, yay, we're all one big European Union. Everything is great and happy, and there's internal fights within each country, and then the European Union as a whole is kind of not doing great. But I've been more into US politics lately than European one. Now being back in Europe, I will probably get more familiar with the European politics. Just being here, you hear more. Sorry, and I was checking on the annexing. What does annexing mean exactly?
What does it mean?
It means in context of nations, one country formally incorporates another territory or country into its own sovereignty, making it part of its domain. It can happen through peaceful agreement, purchase, or force.
Do you think he's going to be able to do that?
I think if he does it, it's going to probably be through force, because I can't imagine Canadians actually wanting to be part of US. But then again, there's always a gentle nudging by the media and various methods of getting people to change their mind and want to be for something that they didn't want to be in or in the first place. So who knows? In time, anything is possible.
I don't think the media is for Trump though, so I think they will try to not have not have that happen. And also Doug Ford, which is the leader of that particular region, or the governor of that particular, Ontario, he is not for Trump. He may act like Trump, but he's not. He did say something about Trump. Oh yeah, he was the one who threatened to cut off electricity in the US. If US want to invoke tariffs. So apparently, yeah. So apparently, New York, Wisconsin, and Michigan, I believe these three states were importing a lot of electricity from Canada. And Canada was like, oh, you really want to impose 25% tariffs on us? Okay, we'll cut off your electricity. So your homes will not have any electricity. You know, they were trying to do that and that was a very douchey thing to do I mean, there's, you know, I'm sure there are ways to, but they are desperate I think that's why they are, they're coming up with this kind of rhetoric. So yeah, so I mean, it's quite messy. I don't know whether Trump will be able to succeed in terms of taking over Canada. But yeah, so this is how it is for now.
Is there any
just
major
a
ports in
disclaimer, I'm not
Canada? Is there any major ports in Canada?
Any major what?
Ports.
Yeah. So I was thinking, since
of
all
course.
the US ports are inaccessible by China, right? Why potentially Canada might just invite China over?
I believe there should be Nova Scotia.
There should be.
Yeah, has numerous ports, Atlantic, Pacific, Arctic Oceans. So British Columbia, and then they have which is Vancouver there.
Looking for the major
Oh
ones.
yeah, Vancouver.
Yeah, and then there's Halifax, but I think Halifax is more eastern, which is more closer towards Europe. There is the Port of Montreal, which is also the east. So I guess the only one that China can tap on is Vancouver. So there's a possibility, that that China can work with Canada. And if let's say it all works out well for everybody but the US, then US is going to be in a bit of a fix. But then again, I don't know, we'll see. US has a lot of also natural resources. They are great place to grow food, they're quite self-sustainable. So they don't really need other countries. And I believe they've probably done a lot of their research. Howard Lutnick is quite well respected, and Scott Bessant, who's the Treasury Secretary. Apparently, he's very, very, very well respected in the economics or macroeconomics space. So and he's very highly revered. So I don't think that they would have just done this so brash, right, if they haven't done their research. Because it's one thing for Trump to say something, but it's another thing for his own people to back him up, which means that if you have somebody like Scott Bessant who actually says, yeah, we can do this, then they probably done the calculations. And I think the US should be able to ride through this through this wave quite well. I mean, the fact that they are imposing all these tariffs and a lot of companies are already invested. They say Hyundai, TSMC, and I think a couple others also. Along the way, they say, yeah, we will build manufacturing facilities in the US.
So I believe Samsung was supposed to have a factory over there. So
yes. I was like, one other company, but yes, I think it's Samsung. Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. And it's only like what, 2 months into this whole thing, 2 months since his inauguration. I believe things should be more or less settled towards the end of this year. I hope. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. It's almost time. Kelvin, you want to share?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I mean, for desktop stock wise, actually I quite surprised that he actually go the another way around. Probably if we go up, but then he just go downward. Even though the tariff is imposed on the overseas automakers, rather than the US one. Yeah.
Go up? I thought all of them supposed to come crashing down. So I expect.
Yeah, you hold first.
So Tesla has been slightly down a bit. It is still above last week's high though. Last week overall it closed at
so in bad. Yeah.
close positive, but it's coming down the last 3 days or so.
Yeah, it was like
the Monday itself it went up quite a lot.
it was at 246 about a couple of weeks ago, and then it spiked up to like 280 plus. And then now it's coming back down, but the spike was a little bit strange to me because I expected it to actually go down. Yeah, of course, looking at the trading charts, it seems very small to go before before it may even go up. But yeah, it's quite surprising that it actually went up. And plus, on top of all the BYD news, and plus all the tariffs, so I would have thought it would have gone down. And I think if I was trading Tesla, I'll probably have lost a lot of money. But yeah. So I just wonder if anybody had any thoughts on why it went up instead of down. And yeah, Calvin, you expected it to go up. Why did you expect it to go up?
Up was only before the tariffs lah. Where I went first, the chart shows that last Friday was the uptrend. It just a spike in uptrend. After that, it was back to the normal downtrend position. Actually, the downtrend I also quite expected because of the tariff, everything was on the downtrend. The fear index, everything is down. So because of the market noise, people don't know what Trump is doing nowadays, and then that's why the spike. I mean, not say spike, how to say, yeah, it's a downtrend for now. But then I optimistic about that stuff because since the tariff on the automakers, right? Maybe eventually you will bounce back. But like I say, I'm not going to predict the market. We see how it goes. Yeah. Actually, I do a buy call also, but then yeah, it's losing money. So I just hold my trade for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Michael, any intake on this?
So I can't comment on that, but what I do notice is there's quite a lot of selling. Looks like quite a lot of selling by the insiders of Tesla. Basically, the
Yeah,
directors
I think
and
market fear lah. I think
CFO are selling.
sell.
So there isn't many buying from what I can see actually. So even on that end, right? It seems like it might be such that the internal directors of the company are thinking is probably a bit higher than what they are expecting.
Any other final thoughts?
So any thoughts on gold? So I think that was one of your
Yeah.
gold and silver.
Oh, go. Yes, I got to go.
Market
Wanna
recession.
go get socks and freezing.
Yes. Well, since you're the one asking, I'll answer. According to market analysts, the fact that gold shot up quite high usually means recession is coming. Apparently 2008 it happened the same way. Where's that tweet? Let me just wait. Hold on. This one. Hold on. Got this one going on. Yeah, so gold has just hit new all-time highs. Actually, I'll just share my screen. Easier. Okay. So so gold has hit its all-time highs. So 6 months leading up to the 2008 financial crisis, the gold prices surged 50%. This was a major warning sign as investors rushed to safety right before the near collapse of the financial system. That this wasn't the only time that gold predicted an economic crisis. In 1973, gold jumped 50% before a major recession, and again in 1980, just before another downturn.
Sorry, can you go up a bit? Go up 2 charts before.
Yeah.
One more. Yeah, this one. Let me look at the chart a bit. Okay, I think the recession basically takes part in the second half of 2007.
Second half of 2007, yeah.
So actually, the price has been coming down. So actually, if you're looking at recession, right, you're probably looking at a high and then gold start to come down.
Okay, so gold start to come down, sure, but that means the recession is also coming lah. Essentially, or we could already be in a recession. Yeah, so
but basically, if you look at the charts before, the price before that, 205, 206, basically the price has been going up as well. Even though the market has been trending up as well.
Yeah. So looks like, well, if this platform is right, recession may be sooner lah, maybe pretty soon. Or not, I don't know. So this wasn't the only time gold predicted 1980, just before another downturn. So over here, I don't know. Can you see my arrow?
Yeah.
Okay. So 1973, 1973, spiked up, go down. Actually, gold did spike up again during the recession as well. And then 1980 spike up before coming down.
So I believe the 1973 will be the oil crisis,
The oil crisis.
and also that back then also should be around that time where Nixon did is it Nixon?
Yeah.
Took US off the gold standard.
Yeah, 2 years after lah. That was 2 years after. 2 years, sorry, that was 2 years before. So 1971. He
Oh,
took
okay.
gold, yeah, he took gold off the standard. So over 1971
Everything spiked up.
and everything
So he took
spiked.
all this,
Yeah. So now then fast forward to today, gold has surged 50% in the past 12 months. Yeah, gold isn't slowing down. So maybe many believe this melt up signals trouble ahead for the global economy. So if gold has more to run, then I guess we will have a few months more before recession hits. Were you the one who predicted, Michael, that the recession may hit this year?
I think I did mention that I'm already expecting a recession already. We are already in a recession. It's just that it won't be announced until like next year.
3150, apparently that was new all-time high price. Yeah. So congrats to gold holders for for keeping safe hard money. That's not USD drop, gold will up. Well, more like, yeah, well, if USD drops also the gold will go up lah.
Yeah, this is the opposite lah, from my
Yeah.
observation. Because gold is all-time high because of USD. It's always the reverse lah. You know the market trend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one of the things I actually a bit surprised is this time round the money supply didn't go up all that much until didn't really go up that much, but gold has been surging now, so he must be taking money from somewhere else. In this case, even though so I'm not too sure where he took money from because the market is too high.
Sorry, you're saying that the supply hasn't been going up much. Oh yeah. Because usually when supply goes up more, then gold will go up more. Yeah. I think I think it's because of the uncertainty. Usually gold goes up. Gold usually go up during the times of uncertainty. Yeah.
But basically they have to withdraw the money from somewhere. So the only place I can think of is they are withdrawing from bonds, and that's why the bond prices has been fallen. That's not the interest rate has not dropped as much as Fed would like to. I would think simply because of the bond sellers. They sell their bonds going to gold. This is probably the only case I can see why gold has been going up like that, even though there wasn't as much of a money supply increase. Neither did the money actually came out from the stock market. So I think, was it you guys that mentioned last week, or I can't remember who is saying that, but Singapore gold holdings have been dropping since 2024.
Really?
Yeah. Singapore has been net seller last year.
What? I thought they've been gold buyer last year.
They are gold buyer in 2023, but not 2024.
Haven't they increased their holdings? What? Wait, what? Hold on. What?
So actually, I'm very interested to see their report for the next quarter. So for this quarter, actually, so should be coming out soon.
What? I thought they've been buying more gold. So, okay, Grok says, yes, Singapore has sold some gold from its reserves in 2024, though the activity has been limited compared to its significant purchases in prior years. 1 ton was sold in June 2024.
No, more than that.
0.23 tons was sold in December 2024. So MA sold a total of 1.23 metric tons of gold in 2024.
I think a drop was more than 10 tons.
These sales were relatively small compared to Singapore's earlier buying spree. For context, Singapore added 76.5 metric tons to its reserves in 2023, boosting its total to 230.02 metric tons by the end of that year, making it the largest net gold buyer among central banks globally in 2023. 2024, MAS continued to increase its holdings at times, with reports indicating an additional 4 tons purchased in April, bringing the total to 241 tons by mid-year. However, the sales in June and December slightly offset these gains. How did they sell? Okay.
So yeah, I don't know why it's happening also.
Yeah, that's very strange actually.
I'm actually kind of worried now.
Why?
Even though this might boost the holdings of Singapore Reserve, just by holding a gold. So looking at it, I am wondering if Singapore has been selling is because of the trying to get US dollars. Just to in case of whatever things coming on. Oh, I'm not too sure whether you also heard China managed to auction. Sorry, it managed to do a bond offering of its USD holdings.
No, I didn't hear that
I
part.
think and its yield is only like 0.5% higher than US, which I think caused a lot of people saying China is able to hold run US denominated bonds at almost the same rate as US itself, even though US is supposed to be the person that is issuing.
So how does it affect, the US like how does it what does it affect?
So given that date, right, that would mean that people who are potentially going to buy US bonds may instead but just buy China China bonds that are denominated in USD. Sorry. Yeah. Right. Not sorry. Just buy the USD bonds from China instead.
Right.
So if in the event that US want to cut rates, might be more difficult because there's nobody taking out.
Okay.
Or at least less people taking out.
Right.
So even though the issue back then was is small, but it set a precedent that this is happening.
So all glory to, all hope pinned onto Scott Bessant and maybe Howard Lutnick to try to, see, because if US is going to cut the deficit, it's also going to trigger a recession. Yeah, less spending, less bloatedness, all this. Yeah.
Gold-wise, People's Republic of China bought 10 tons from January 2024 in a 15-month buying spree. They added 10 tons to their reserves, and Poland got almost 15 tons in 2024. Thailand sold around 10, and Czech Republic added around 11. Those are the big around 10 tons purchases or sales in the last year. So Poland, Czech Republic, and China bought, and Thailand sold.
I think all in all, net Singapore actually did add gold into the reserves.
Can I share a screen? So you see one chart? So this is Singapore gold holdings.
Yes, I see your chart.
So currently it's at 220. Well, it was at a high, it was about 236.
Okay, where 2022, 2023 they added. 2024.
4 quarters.
This is the bar chart indicates the number of metric tons they have, or how much they have.
Number of metric tons they have. So
Q1
it was at 236. Q4 it was at 219. Okay, 220.
Oh, so they did sell off some gold.
So actually, I am very interested to see what's the company report.
Definitely something to think about. Cool. Any other things you guys want to before I end this? I've said ended 2-3 times, but then every time there's something new comes on, I was oh yeah, what is it? Yeah.
So we want to talk about silver or next time?
I tell you, Michael, we can talk like 2 hours, yeah. Like 2 hours, 3 hours.
Honestly, I wasn't thinking it was running this long.
But me neither. Yeah. I mean, it's fun, especially that's why I want this to see, because this is, just want to share it. Just want people to but I think it's it only carries well with people who are familiar with each other. Yeah, I think if it's like strangers coming in, I think private sessions will be a lot better.
Mm.
Yeah, silver apparently has been going up also, right?
But
What?
it's not as much as gold lah.
Yeah. I think what I'm gonna do is now that I used to buy, like when friends get married, right? I would buy like 1 gram of gold for them. Because I think it's as a gift, right? It doesn't the value doesn't go down. Everything else the value will go down. So maybe instead of buying gold, I have to start buying silver already because gold is getting too high, too expensive. Yeah.
Hopefully, don't tell me you're going to get into the silver stacking part.
I think silver definitely of interest now because silver is also affordable. You can get I think it was 1 gram of silver for like $30, something like this. Yeah, which is more viable lah. Yeah, and I think it will go up lah eventually. It won't go up as much, but it will still go up. So I think for many people who can't afford gold, I think a lot of people will start going for silver. And I think if you have a lot of people going for silver, I think there's a very good opportunity for silver to go up also.
So basically, I'm not as bullish on silver actually.
Yeah,
silver has plenty of opportunities to run already, but it so far has haven't. So from what I feel, I just don't think investors will actually be going too much into silver.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, we may see hit $50 again, but I think there's higher chance of gold hitting 4,000 than silver hitting $50. Regarding the silver, I used to think like that as well until the event of the crypto. So pretty much, I think that crypto has supplement that kind of usage from silver. Still, silver is after all still physical, so I guess there's still some use to it. But basically, I would think that part of the reason why silver has not been moving as much as gold would because there is crypto.
But the silver has not been going up as much in general though, right? Yeah.
Because it would have if people are thinking it as a kind of a store of value where you can do actual buying and selling on a normal basis, but that part has been kind of taken over by crypto itself.
Thanks, Michael, for coming along. This is
Okay.
it always has been great. Yeah, thanks for contributing, Kelvin and Verana, who is back in Croatia. Thanks for your contribution of facts as well. Okay, cool. Well, let's end this for real for the 8th time.
All right.
Cool. Yeah, good night, guys.